Hello, Chillify channel. I'm ready. I was in the middle of a soul-summoning live stream when I connected with a fellow practitioner. The moment he appeared on screen, he challenged me to a spiritual duel. The online audience immediately stirred, bringing up Film Emperor Ethan Qin, who had been in a vegetative state for a year after a car accident. They dared us. If you're so powerful, wake him up. Wake him up. That's easy. Did he just stop his medication and call the police to arrest his manager? The instant the words left my mouth, he scoffed, ridiculing my unrefined skills and claiming I couldn't even discern that Ethan Qin's soul had already departed his body. With that, he began his own soul-summoning ritual, but inadvertently called forth a malevolent, wandering demon. I gasped, frantically interjecting, "Stop it now! 2 souls in 1 body is a fatal danger. Inviting a spirit is easy. Banishing it is the true challenge. My name is Celeste Zhang, the 48th generation inheritor of the Miao Shan sect. Despite my lineage, I pursued a degree in finance, my sole aim to escape the poverty that seemed destined for me after glimpsing too many heavenly secrets during my spiritual cultivation. Indeed, I prefer the simple pursuit of money over achieving enlightenment and ascension. However, my father, Master Zhang, the 47th generation inheritor, calls this lacking true dedication. To avoid being forced to drop out of university and inherit the family business, he made me swear before our ancestral patriarchs. Finance was acceptable, but my duties of demon slaying and ghost exorcism were never to cease. Thus, every single day, I have a sacred duty: to save the world. This saving the world can manifest as assisting others, contributing to society, or even expelling evil, subduing malevolent spirits, healing the sick, or aiding those facing disaster. Given the choice between late-night chases of restless spirits and personally funding solutions for people's predicaments by divining their fates, I unequivocally chose the path with the least karmic entanglements: soul summoning, bridging the divide between the living and the dead. The concept is beautiful, but the reality? Brutal, total. I can divine others' destinies, yet never my own. I plot 100 strategies, devise 1,000 schemes, but without fail, every soul-summoning livestream I host to help others inevitably escalates into a major incident. I'm beginning to suspect I have a magnet for trouble, attracting high-stakes cases. Just a few days ago, for instance, I assisted the police in solving a case where malevolent spirits were used to ensnare young men and women, forcing them into spectral marriages. My live stream had to be paused for several days because of it. Once that ordeal concluded, I slyly plotted to take a break to enjoy a few days of peace. But my father, Master Zhang, knows me better than anyone. He instantly messaged me a picture of our ancestral patriarch statue, a stark reminder of my sacred oath. Heartless. I silently wept, folding my finance textbook, which I'd barely had time to open, and fervently prayed that today's broadcast would be free of any criminal or legal entanglements. "Oh, patriarchs above," I pleaded, "please grant me a simple case. Just someone missing a lost loved one, wishing for one last glimpse. That's all I ask." My prayer was utterly sincere. Then, gritting my teeth, I opened my phone and went live. But the heavens seemed to conspire against me. The moment I went live, a viewer sent a Navan gift. Before the elaborate animation could even finish, a connection request appeared. Clearly, this person had been waiting for me, intimately familiar with my live stream rules. His username, Mystic Master. My eyelid twitched, a definite bad omen, and my premonition was spot on. The connection opened to an old man, clad in flowing Daoist robes, a long beard, projecting an air of ancient sagacity. A fellow practitioner, I mused. But while the uninitiated marvel at the spectacle, the true insider sees only the core. Despite his attempts to exude an aura of a profound master, a single glance was enough for me to see he possessed absolutely no genuine cultivation. A charlatan, a fraud masquerading as a true spiritual master. I clicked on his profile. Oh my heavens, over 3 million followers. And he was a live streaming snake oil salesman. His shopping cart teemed with fake talismans and imitation jade. Yet his sales figures were astronomically high. Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Damn! Damn! How could so many people be so utterly swindled? His prices were exorbitant, yet his sales boomed. I felt a pang of envy. No, pure, unadulterated rage, my eyes burning red. I was just about to report him, not for the sake of justice, but out of sheer indignation, when he adopted a mysterious, profound, and inscrutable posture, trying to overwhelm me with an air of condescending superiority. But as he waited for me to respond, and I remained silent, his composure slowly crumbled into awkwardness. To save face, he furrowed his brow, his expression sour. "You there, listening," he began. "Sit up properly. You're hiding, afraid to even show your face. Are you feeling guilty?" The moment he opened his mouth, he flung a massive black pot directly onto my head. "All right, old man," I thought to myself. "Ah, yes, I'm guilty," I conceded, playing along. "Customers are money, and money is always right." I couldn't believe I was being so cooperative, yet he remained unsatisfied. "You are truly insolent," he declared. "I've heard you've been scamming people online lately, defrauding them of money. I came specifically to warn you to turn back from this path. But seeing your stubborn refusal to repent, it seems I must teach you a lesson, so you never dare to deceive online again." He delivered this lengthy monologue without a single pause. Honestly, I thought, I'm utterly bewildered. Is this some kind of elaborate prank? Why else would I encounter someone so utterly ridiculous? I wasn't angry. Instead, his baseless accusations struck me as hilariously absurd. Clearly, he had an agenda. After a moment's thought, I decided not to report him just yet, mostly out of curiosity to see what he was up to. So, with an O, I maintained my sarcastic deadpan to the very end. While I kept my cool, my fans were less forgiving. "Seriously, who is that old geezer? Is he out of his mind? Does he think he's some beacon of justice?" Crazy. Your entire family is crazy. That's Grandmaster Shen. He's here to expose the truth about High-Thought Blogger. What do you know? Exposing the truth. That's rich. Anyone who's ever watched Grandmaster Celeste's live streams wouldn't dare say such a thing. Who says I haven't watched? You've all been duped by her. Grandmaster Shen said she's just a charlatan. It's all an act. Oh, so the billionaire's son, the award-winning actress, the trending idol, they're all just acting, huh? Exactly. She's just chasing clout. Today, Grandmaster Shen will show you what a early master is. Hey everyone, doesn't the name Grandmaster Shen sound familiar? I just looked him up. The internet is full of accusations that he's a scammer. That's slander against Grandmaster Shen. The Grandmaster himself said it's just jealous rivals trying to tarnish his reputation. Hey, commenter above. Did your Grandmaster Shen ever tell you that you're his unique young grass? Naive followers? Ha ha ha, what a sharp tongue, I like it. Don't be so rude. Our Grandmaster Shen has boundless spiritual power. You're all blind. You'll regret this someday. Ha! Boundless spiritual power, you say. Our Grandmaster Celeste can even achieve enlightenment and ascend to heaven. Me? Nay? Oh no, I can't possibly. Don't put such a lofty title on me. The livestream chat then exploded with 2 competing spam messages. Our Grandmaster Shen has boundless spiritual power, and our Grandmaster Celeste can achieve enlightenment and ascend to heaven. Amidst the furious spam war waged by both fan bases, I could clearly see the look of utter triumph on Grandmaster Shen's face. I then looked at him, dramatically raised my hand, and with an exaggerated flourish, commanded, "Stop!" In the very next second, the live stream chat's incessant, "Our Grandmaster Shen has boundless spiritual power," was instantly wiped clean, leaving only our Grandmaster Celeste can achieve enlightenment and ascend to heaven, to flood the screen. The sheer audacity with which he orchestrated that move left me utterly dumbfounded, thinking what a high-level play. Yet internally I was torn, wondering if I should mimic his stop command. If I didn't, seeing my fans relentlessly spamming that phrase would embarrass me so much I'd likely shrivel into a ball and wish to build a full-fledged Daoist temple. But if I IDD, copy his ostentatious display, I'd probably die of mortification and build 10 Daoist temples. My inner voice was screaming. If I'd known it would come to this, I wouldn't have been so curious. I wouldn't be facing this public humiliation, this social death. Thankfully, he wasn't keen on relinquishing the spotlight and quickly resumed his performance. "I see your fans are not convinced," he declared. "So, allow me to utterly humble them. I wish to challenge you to a spiritual duel. Do you dare accept?" The words had barely left his mouth, and before I could even reply, his fans, like a perfectly drilled army, swarmed the chat with spam. "Refusing means you're a coward." The slogan was surprisingly catchy. My own fans were easily swayed, chiming in, "Grandmaster Celeste, accept the challenge. We support you." Amidst the escalating excitement from both sides, I quietly retrieved my Daoist certification card, a small purple-bound booklet. "Spiritual duels are rather troublesome," I began. "Couldn't we find a more civilized way to demonstrate our respective strengths? I'm sure many here might not know. So allow me to explain. This is a Daoist certification card, which all legitimate Daoists must earn through examination. Without it, one cannot officially transmit the Dao or conduct sacred rituals. These cards come in 5 colors: blue, green, yellow, red, and purple. Blue signifies an entry-level practitioner, while purple is reserved for the highest masters. So, Grandmaster Shen, what color, I wonder, is your Daoist card? The moment he heard my words, Grandmaster Shen's face froze solid, visibly so. The livestream, now boasting a six-figure viewership, watched in anticipation of his next move. He merely snorted, pointing to his purple Daoist robe. Isn't it his attire enough to prove my power? But what about you? You don't even possess a simple blue Daoist robe. Your purple booklet is clearly a fake. A blue Daoist robe is merely the uniform for entry-level disciples. He should count himself lucky I was live streaming anonymously. Otherwise, if these words reached the true masters of the Daoist Association, the very ones who often begged me to sell them talismans, he'd surely find himself in a sack, getting a proper beating. Out of respect for the generous gift he'd just sent, I chose to be magnanimous and let it slide. Seeing my silence, he mistook it for agreement regarding my fake card, and his face visibly relaxed. He continued his calculated manipulation. If you kneel, bow your head, and apologize to the fans you've deceived, and furthermore, promise to cease all fraudulent live streams, I might grant you leniency this one time. I won't report your imposter status to the Daoist Association, leaving you a path to salvation. His overblown confidence was truly suffocating in its arrogance. I'm going to burst with anger. Grandmaster Celeste, quick, use your powers to humble him. You'll let him be so arrogant. You all should wake up to the truth. Who says I'm scared to speak up? I'm simply pondering the most effective way to utterly dismantle my opponent in a spiritual duel. See my fans losing ground. No matter how much I craved laziness, I couldn't let my supporters be subjected to such injustice. However, I wanted to expedite this whole affair. My daily task remained uncompleted, and he was an unwelcome interruption. Thus, I sought a single stroke that would achieve two goals: defeat this charlatan and fulfill my own duty. While I was musing about whether to simply send him to meet his ancestors so they could teach him some basic humanity from scratch, he spoke again. Excellent! If you dare accept, I shall honor your courage with an opportunity. Anyhow, don't accuse me of bullying. Didn't you claim to know soul summoning? Very well. Then let us duel by summoning souls. I nodded. For fairness, the person whose soul is to be summoned will be chosen by the fans. Agreed. His eyes gleamed. This proposal was clearly ill-intentioned, but I felt no fear and readily accepted. I glanced at the time. The short drama I was following was about to drop its next episode. I recalled yesterday's episode. The pure-hearted female-led White Lotus, framed by the wicked rival, lost her unborn child, only to wake in the hospital and be humiliated by the male. She then embraced her dark side completely. For revenge, She underwent plastic surgery, seduced the male lead's middle-aged father, and had the male lead exiled from his own home. Classic soap, opera, melodrama. I absolutely had to catch the new episode. Let's get this over with, I urged impatiently. At that very moment, a massive influx of new fans flooded the livestream room. They swarmed in like a plague of locusts, immediately spamming with fervent zeal, pushing out all my previous fans' comments. Looking closer, I saw them writing, "Today is Ethan Qin's birthday. He's been in a coma for a year after his accident. We haven't abandoned him. There's strength in numbers, please, everyone. Pray for him to wake up soon." Huh? What's all this? Even someone as uninitiated as me had heard of Ethan Qin. Of course, I knew the Film Emperor from the torrent of hot social media news. His car accident last year had dominated every social media platform for an entire month. His fans were even more anxious and frantic than his own family. Day after day, they scoured the internet for the best doctor. Some fanatical extremists even disguised themselves as medical staff to sneak into his hospital room. When caught, one individual was even pulling down Ethan Qin's pants. Before being taken away by the police, that deranged fan wept, claiming she only wanted to give Ethan Qin a child, that she was doing a good deed with no ill intentions. The truly astonishing part was that when this incident came to light, Ethan Qin's fans begged Daoist for leniency for her, declaring they understood her actions. In short, Ethan Qin's fans, whether die-hard or casual, were fundamentally unhinged. So their frantic online prayers for him, while baffling for anyone else, were entirely unsurprising coming from his fan base. They swarmed in like locusts, then just as quickly departed. After a while, my live stream's viewer count plummeted. Even comments ceased for a considerable period. Hey, have Film Emperor Qin's fans all left? They're gone, right? I didn't expect Film Emperor Qin's fans to fight so fiercely. Indeed, Film Emperor Qin's acting is superb, but his fans are difficult to assess. The person above, do you have a death wish? Say that again. And if his fans see it, you're done for. The one above. You two are both in danger. The one above. Actually, all three of you are in danger. No, the one above. All four of you better be careful. The one above. All four of you better be. What's so bad about talking behind people's backs? Don't disrespect others. If you've got guts, say it to our faces. What's so hard to assess about our fans? I thought all of Ethan Qin's fans had retreated, but unexpectedly, a fish had slipped through the net. And not just any fish, but a shark with formidable fighting spirit. I checked the time. The new episode of my short drama was almost due to update. If I let them keep this commotion going, who knew when this charade would end? I was about to speak when Grandmaster Shen quickly interjected, stealing my thunder. I watched him adopt a mystical pose, shaking a three pure ones bell in his hand. Fellow Daoists, along with his words, a piercing, electronic screech blared from my phone, startling me and making my ears ring. I was fine, but my three roommates watching my live stream all yelped, throwing their phones aside and rubbing their ears in discomfort. Good heavens! What was that? Erin exclaimed, rubbing her chest, her voice laced with fear. Celeste, that Grandmaster Shen seems really formidable. Are you confident you can beat him? I lowered my voice. I'm afraid the fans in the live stream would hear if I spoke too loudly. If it's about these theatrical stunts, then honestly, I'm not confident I can win against him. Others might not have noticed anything peculiar about his 3 Pure Ones bell, but one glance told me it had an electronic device installed. That jarring electronic sound had emanated directly from his spiritual bell. A true, orthodox Daoist would never modify a sacred artifact into an electronic gadget, but only I knew this truth, and it did little to stop countless others from being completely bamboozled by his performance. Grandmaster Shen's true capabilities were immediately apparent the moment he made his move. Just now, I was on the verge of arguing with Film Emperor Ethan Qin's fans, but thanks to his commanding shout, my mind instantly cleared as if illuminated. I felt that too. Grandmaster Shen truly possesses formidable spiritual power. I've known it for ages. Grandmaster Shen is genuinely capable. My head is still ringing. Did he just use spiritual power to call to us? Commenter above, are you serious? Not being sarcastic, are you? Spiritual power! Nonsense! It was clearly an electronic sound. Who is so unethical as to pull a stunt like this? My ears are still ringing. You cannot disrespect Grandmaster Shen. He is performing a sacred ritual. Oh, and who are you to tell us what to do? If you don't allow it, should we just listen? You ignorant fool! Grandmaster Shen is no ordinary man. You will regret this. Yes, your Grandmaster isn't ordinary. He's a criminal, a charlatan. He'll end up in jail. Sooner or later, you're going too far. If you have the guts, reveal your birth date and time right now. Grandmaster Shen will prove whether he's a fraud or not. Nah, your provocations won't work on me. I'm not giving out my birth date. What can your Grandmaster possibly do to me? Indeed, when it came to verbal warfare, the netizens were truly in a league of their own. Grandmaster Shen watched his young grass, novice, team falter in the verbal skirmish, and the composed, sagely expression on his face began to crumble. I saw him reach for his 3 Pure Ones bell, clearly intending another dramatic display. While I desperately wanted to continue setting the stage to him, remaining a meek spectator, he was simply taking far too long. Get a move on, I thought. He's not the only one who knows how to do this. I also possess a 3 Pure Ones bell, but unlike his high-tech gadget, mine is a genuine spiritual artifact. As the netizens continued their boisterous arguments, I subtly shook my 3 Pure Ones bell. Unlike the jarring, electronic clang of Grandmaster Shen's bell, mine emitted clear, resonating tone. As I shook the bell, I softly chanted a clear heart incantation. The first chime rang. Still. The second chime, clear. The third chime, bright. Clear heart like water, clear water calms the mind, swift as law and command. As I shook the bell 3 times and completed the incantation, an invisible current of spiritual energy permeated the air. It manifested as a gentle, soothing breeze, delicately sweeping over everyone it touched. The 3 Pure Ones bell, also known as a soul-calling bell, is a Daoist artifact commonly used to summon the souls of the deceased or to exorcise demons. Malevolent spirits find its sound agonizing and repulsive, while humans experience a sense of peace and comfort. Those at a distance, like the netizens in the live stream, only perceived the pleasant and calming chime. Those closer, like my 3 roommates, directly benefited from its soul purifying effect. I glanced at them. All 3 were lost in a state of serene tranquility, their spirits seemingly cleansed, their faces reflecting pure bliss. Yet, they still valiantly attempted to keep their eyes open, determined to continue monitoring the live stream and helping me manage the comments. I smiled, then produced 3 calming talismans, offering them so my friends no longer had to struggle. Instead, they could safely drift into sleep, fully savoring the profound, soul-cleansing sensation. As for the netizens in the live stream, I observed that they too were utterly awestruck by my display. Ignoring the old man's darkening scowl across the screen, I swiftly took control of the room, speaking with brisk authority. From this moment forward, all comments unrelated to the competition in this live stream room will be banned. The soul-summoning challenge between Grandmaster Shen and me will now continue. I will count down 5 seconds, and then I will take a screenshot. Hold on. I haven't even said start yet. Grandmaster Shen. Ayan. 5. Hurry up. Whoever wants to meet their ancestors, sign up now. Me. Look at me. 4. I want 2 too. But what are my ancestors' birth dates? I don't know. Person above, ask your parents. Streamer, look at me. I don't want to summon ancestors. Can I summon the god of wealth? The person above has brilliant thinking. I also want to summon the god of wealth. Are there no more Film Emperor Ethan Qin fans? Grandmaster Celeste is too powerful. Maybe she can even perform a ritual to wake Film Emperor Ethan Qin? Everyone, register quickly. The person above is definitely an anti-fan. If someone in a vegetative state could wake up that easily, what would we need doctors for? Is the streamer really that powerful? Seriously? 2. Everyone, don't move. I'm immediately going to call my sisters to register. It's settled. The one who brought up Film Emperor Ethan Qin's fans is an anti-fan. Everyone, hurry up! Only 1 second left. We have to seize this chance before Film Emperor Ethan Qin's fans rush in and hog all the registration slots. These registration slots must belong to your fans. Swarming in like locusts, Film Emperor Ethan Qin's fans appeared in a single second, completely dominating the screen. Seeing the entire comment section overtaken by his fans, I couldn't help but marvel. Their network is truly fast. 1. As expected, the registration slots were entirely claimed by Ethan Qin's fans. Strangely, after seeing the final result, Grandmaster Shen, who had relentlessly tried to interrupt me during the 5-second countdown, now showed no hint of dissatisfaction. On the contrary, he subtly relaxed, as if greatly pleased with this outcome. I stared intently at him, only to observe that the expression on his face began to shift. His philtrum darkened, horizontal lines appearing. ominous signs of impending prison calamity. The old man, still oblivious to the disaster awaiting him, continued to puff out his chest with arrogant conceit. Out of nowhere, a mini soul-summoning banner appeared in his hand, looking exactly like the one I held. He even mimicked my way of spinning the banner, which made my eye twitch uncontrollably. A true copycat expert. Just watching him made my hands itch. Fellow Daoist across the screen, if you concede now, his mods struck me as so ridiculous that I actually burst out laughing. My apologies. I'll try harder to restrain myself next time. As a young person who always respects elders, I sincerely apologized when I saw his face darken further. But my apology only made his face even blacker. You don't blame me for being impolite, he fumed, finally getting straight to the point and asking Ethan Qin's fans for his birth date and time. Ethan Qin was a celebrity. Every year, he'd hold fan meetings on his birthday. Otherwise, his fans wouldn't have thought to gather online to pray for him on this day. So, the moment the old man asked, his fans immediately provided the precise birth date and even the hour. Initially, I wasn't too concerned with this spiritual duel. I was just curious to see what trick the old man was going to pull. But when my gaze inadvertently fell upon Ethan Qin's birth date and time, my eyes paused. I looked again, more carefully. I silently calculated in my head, and the result was clear. Observing a strong real god, experiencing a fatal star in the flowing year? A destiny of being harmed by petty people, like dancing with a pack of wolves. Truly pitiful. Meanwhile, the old man had begun his performance. I watched him take out the tortoise shell and 3 coins, his expression grave, making a show of mystery before casting a divination. Ethan Qin's fans in the live stream were losing patience, urging him on repeatedly. Didn't you say you were going to perform a ritual? Why are you doing fortune-telling? Exactly. Stop showing off. Do it quickly. We want to see our idol wake up. Seeing these comments and recalling the results of my own calculations, I spoke up. You want him to wake up? Stop his medication and call the police to arrest his manager. That's all it takes. The moment I finished speaking, the old man immediately stopped, held up the divination paper to the camera, and explained a completely different interpretation from mine. Upper wind, lower water forming the Huan hexagram. Wind represents Ethan Qin's soul. Water represents his body. Wind blowing over water signifies that Ethan Qin's soul has departed his body. It is precisely because his soul is absent that his body is in this predicament, unable to wake up. All we need to do is perform a soul-summoning ritual for him, and he will naturally awaken. Grandmaster Celeste, your skills are unrefined. Do not harm others' lives, he said, shaking his head repeatedly as if to seal my condemnation. His performance was so outlandish it made me face turn red from trying to suppress my laughter. I nodded continuously. Right. I'm no match for you. I surrender. I'm convinced. So, can I end the broadcast now? I conceded defeat cheerfully. After all, I had nothing to lose. I dueled and completed my task, and I'd even get a share of the Livestream gifts. Ha 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 ha, a profit. At the same time, I had already taken out my phone, ready to shut down the stream and call the police. If they weren't going to report him, I would. But it seemed the old man was dissatisfied with my easy surrender. Looking at your attitude, you're still not truly convinced. So, let me prove it to you, to make you thoroughly accept your defeat. I stared blankly. How was he going to prove it now? Had he guessed I was about to call the police? Seeing his philtrum darken even further, only one thought crossed my mind. His prison sentence was definitely increasing by several years. I sighed, rubbing my forehead. Grandmaster, I truly am convinced. Truly. But he didn't listen, only laughed coldly. Your attitude is not serious. Let me use my power to teach you respect. Damn it. It's true that good intentions are wasted on stubborn devils. As he and I bickered, Ethan Qin's fans in the live stream room relentlessly cursed me. My recent words had enraged them. You're a scammer, spouting nonsense. We all witnessed Manager Cam's devotion to our idol with our own eyes. On the day of the accident, if she hadn't risked her life to pull him from the car, he would have died when it exploded. After that, she personally cared for him. You open your mouth and slander a good person. Don't you feel any conscience? What conscience? How could she feel pain if she has none? Filthy, money-grubbing scammer, slandering good people. You'll get your comeuppance. Ethan Qin's fans spared no words in their insults. Those comments were considered polite. There were many more vulgar ones I didn't even bother with. In stark contrast, Ethan Qin's fans in Grandmaster Shen's livestream were much more civil. Grandmaster Shen, we trust you. How do we summon his soul? Do we just call his name? Grandmaster Shen, you truly are a living immortal of our time. Please save our idol. His soul is waiting for your help. Grandmaster Shen, I am Cam, Ethan Qin's manager. If you are willing to help him wake up, I will donate all my assets as an offering to you. Manager Cam is here. Wow, I'm so touched. Manager Cam is truly the best manager in the entertainment industry. We can't let her bear everything alone. Our idol's fans also pledged to donate offerings. Grandmaster Shen, please save our idol. True to their word, Ethan Qin's fans began sending a flood of gifts to Grandmaster Shen. Watching the incessant gift animations in his live stream room, Grandmaster Shen's smile couldn't be wider. As for me, I watched with a bitter taste in my mouth. He had no idea that every single penny his fans sent him today would become incriminating evidence against him when he went to jail. When the gift onslaught from Ethan Qin's fans temporarily ceased, Grandmaster Shen finally spoke. This humble Daoist and Daoist friend, Ethan, have a profound connection. I cannot bear to let his soul continue to wander outside. Manager Cam, please send me the address privately. This humble Daoist will immediately come to perform the soul summoning ritual for Daoist friend Ethan. At Grandmaster Shen's confident demeanor completely convinced the netizens. Even my own fans began to waver. Does he really know how to summon souls? He looks very confident. What do you think, Grandmaster Celeste? I sat watching, my cold, mocking tone silencing the entire online community. After receiving the address, Grandmaster Shen put on a face of surprise, telling the netizens that he and Ethan Qin truly had a karmic connection. They lived in the same apartment complex, even units directly above and below each other, in the same building. Hearing this news, Ethan Qin's fans showered him with another wave of gifts. Their idol hadn't even woken up, yet their hopes were soaring. Since being diagnosed as vegetative, Ethan Qin had been taken home by Manager Cam for care after being discharged from the hospital. Manager Cam's reasoning was that Ethan Qin hated hospitals. If he were conscious, he would never want to stay there. His fans readily believed Manager Cam's explanation. Furthermore, to keep the fans engaged, Manager Cam even arranged daily visitation slots for Ethan Qin, ostensibly for fans to call his name and increase his chances of waking up. This tactic moved his fans to tears. They completely overlooked the fact that to visit, they had to pay a significant sum through daily auctions. In the Livestream room, Grandmaster Shen entered the elevator to go upstairs. When the elevator doors opened, Manager Cam's figure appeared, greeting him, also visible in the Livestream. As they exchanged pleasantries, I secretly opened my phone, looked up Ethan Qin's address, saw the 6-figure housing prices there, then looked at Grandmaster Shen's feigned expression. I was so jealous, my teeth gnashed together. Even scammers are this rich now. How infuriating. After their greetings, they quickly entered Ethan Qin's room. On the bed, Ethan Qin lay with his eyes closed, his complexion rosy, looking nothing like someone who had been bedridden for a year. He appeared extremely well cared for. Under Manager Cam's flattering words, Grandmaster Shen approached Ethan Qin's bedside. He took out a small vial, telling the camera it contained black cat's blood. Hearing this, my eyes twitched uncontrollably. Black cats are associated with yin, and their blood is extremely yin. An ominous feeling prompted me to speak up. Black cat's blood cannot be used recklessly. Used on a sick person, it will deplete their yang energy. If a normal person's yang energy decreases, they might get sick for a few days. If it's severe, they could develop a serious illness. For a sick person, a decrease in yang energy can affect their lifespan. But my warning fell on deaf ears. He even accused me of having unrefined skills. He claimed that because Ethan Qin's yang energy was too strong, his soul couldn't re-enter his body. What he intended to do now was extinguish the 3 yang flames on Ethan Qin's head and shoulder. This was utterly reckless. A little bit of superficial knowledge is the most dangerous thing. The 3 yang flames of a human are meant to protect body from evil spirits. Once extinguished, the human body becomes a delicious meal in the eyes of ghosts. I wanted to stop him, but seeing my urgency, he only hastened his actions. I watched him dab black cat's blood onto Ethan Qin's forehead and shoulders, completely extinguishing the 3 yang flames on his body. After that, he began a bizarre performance. I didn't know from what legitimate source he had learned this soul summoning method. He asked Manager Cam to fetch one of Ethan Qin's shirts on which a red cloth strip was tied with red string. The red cloth had Ethan Qin's birth date and time written on it. and the red string was stained with black cat's blood. Up to this point, I remained calm. This nonsensical method couldn't summon Ethan Qin's soul. Nor could it summon any other ghost. This was just a theatrical stunt. No need to rush, no need to rush. But I had underestimated his ability to put on a show. He didn't stop there. He pulled out a ghost summoning talisman and pasted it directly onto Ethan Qin's body. Oh no! He intended to summon a soul, yet he stuck a ghost summoning talisman. Was he trying to take the man's life? Even more terrifying, that ghost summoning talisman was real, utterly ridiculous. Seeing the situation, I was so furious, I almost fell backward. I couldn't wait any longer. I immediately grabbed my phone, intending to call for help. There was no other way. I wanted to go myself. But Ethan Qin and I weren't in the same city. I tried calling a colleague I knew who was in Ethan Qin's city. But at that crucial moment, their line was dead. No one answered. I took a deep breath, opened an app to check flight prices. 3,000 yuan. That was 2 months of my living expenses. Fine, I blame Ethan Qin for his misfortune and blame myself for being poor. Now, there was only one last way. Call the police. Let the police handle the bad guys. As I was about to call the police, my phone unexpectedly received an incoming call. I thought it was my colleague from earlier, but when I saw the caller ID, it was a list actress Qilin. As soon as I connected, Qilin's anxious voice rang out. Grandmaster Celeste, please, help Ethan. He once helped me. I can't just watch him die. I know the old rules. 10,000 offerings as a thank you gift. What old rules are you talking about? Since when did I have these old rules? Why don't I even know about them? I thought back to the last time I personally paid for a flight to the border to help her find her fiancé, then forgot to report the plane ticket costs and equipment losses. Even now, thinking about it makes my heart ache. Where I come from, personal expenses and service fees are two entirely different things. 10,000 offerings? Forget it. Now, nay, the platform takes most of that money anyway. Just transfer the plane ticket money to me first. I don't have money to buy a ticket. I was so poor, I stated it nonchalantly, being both generous and stingy. Hearing this, Qiling felt sympathy for me. She proactively booked a first-class ticket for me and even arranged a car. The car was now waiting at the school gate. My conversation with Qiling didn't escape the ears of the netizens in the live stream room. As soon as Qiling appeared, fans who still hoped for her return after she left the entertainment industry also flooded into my live stream. Instantly, my live stream's viewership far surpassed Grandmaster Shen. He looked busy performing his soul-summoning ritual, but in reality, he was always paying attention to me. When he heard me tell Qiling that I was coming, his expression clearly revealed panic. Originally, he was holding Ethan Qin's shirt, performing a self-created god-calling dance to attract attention. Now he stopped, asked Manager Cam to get a bowl, mumbled some incomprehensible words, then intended to burn the ghost-summoning talisman, mix it with water, and force Ethan Qin to drink it. I was astonished, immediately stopping him. Stop right now. 2 souls in one body can lead to death. Inviting a ghost is easy. Banishing it is hard. If the ghost-summoning talisman hadn't been burned, it wouldn't have been so bad. After all, he didn't know how to chant spells and had no actual magic. Casting that talisman on Ethan Qin would only make him more susceptible to possession. But the problem was that his talisman, paper and ink were mixed with agarwood. Agarwood can help spirits increase their cultivation. The fragrance of agarwood is typically used to worship deities, but greedy evil spirits also covet. A ghost summoning talisman, when burned, becomes an irresistible delicacy for evil spirits. If Grandmaster Shen had even a little spiritual power to control the ghost, it wouldn't be an issue. But if he couldn't control it, the ghost would wreak havoc. He had absolutely no idea what he was doing. Ignoring my warning, he burned the ghost-summoning talisman and dropped it into the bowl. Smoke rose from the talisman. Within that thin wisp of smoke, a malevolent spirit with glowing red eyes greedily inhaled the agarwood smoke. Only one word ran through my mind. Damn it. Damn it. What are you talking about? Two souls in one body. This humble Daoist is summoning Ethan Qin's soul. This foolish old man was still complacent, completely unaware that the malevolent spirit had just circled him. Then, deeming him too old, decided not to bother and instead stared intently at Ethan Qin, lying on the bed. The demon salivated so much its drool was about to drip. I continuously cursed internally, but my hands were busy drawing a protective talisman, sending it to him via private message. Quickly, place this electronic protective talisman on Ethan Qin. Don't let him be possessed by a ghost. He acted as if he didn't hear, even pouring the bowl of water, mixed with the ghost-summoning talisman, ash into Ethan Qin's mouth, forcing him to drink it. The evil spirit was now almost entering Ethan Qin's body. Grandmaster Shen, I screamed. This had gone too far. I couldn't ignore Ethan Qin's safety, or I too would suffer bad luck. Thinking this, I gritted my teeth and decided to accept the bad luck, saying to him, I truly admire your abilities, Grandmaster. You don't need to prove anything further. To show my sincerity, I am willing to gift you a consecrated statue of the God of Wealth. But please, place that protective talisman on Ethan Qin. I reluctantly took out my most cherished treasure in exchange for Ethan Qin's safety. God of Wealth, I'm sorry. I have no choice. Please don't be angry with me. But no one cared about my sacrifice. He even scoffed at me. A netizen seized the opportunity to mock me. She's desperate. She's afraid our idol will wake up and expose her, right? So ridiculous. If that God of Wealth statue was consecrated, how could she be so poor she can't even afford a plane ticket? Exactly. Does the God of Wealth know you're slandering him? These netizens are truly venomous. The netizens' tongues are truly too vicious. Of course, the God of Wealth knows. His statue is even heating up right now. I quickly appeased the statue in my heart, promising to buy it the most expensive milk tea. 5 cups, 5 different flavors. Finally, the God of Wealth statue stopped heating up. But I was heartbroken over the money lost for 5 cups of milk tea. At this moment, Grandmaster Shen had poured the entire bowl of talisman water into Ethan Qin's mouth. Ethan Qin's fans couldn't wait any longer, anxiously asking, Why hasn't our idol woken up yet? Next is the final step. We need to call his name. When the soul hears the call, it will return to the body. The more people, the stronger the power. Everyone can also type his name on the screen and call his name with me. Grandmaster Shen finished speaking, then suddenly roared, "Ethan Qin, come back! Ethan Qin, come back!" I was so startled by his shout, I almost fell backward. Honestly, I was speechless. Ethan Qin's fans truly were everywhere. I never expected that even in the dorm next door, someone would start calling his name. And the voice was so sincere, so emotional, almost tearful. I was even more at a loss for words. The entire dormitory area suddenly became chaotic. It was as if everyone had received a secret signal. Ethan Qin's fans in the dorm area all rushed out. Perhaps they thought that strength in numbers was key, so they gathered in the hallway to shout together. This world was finally becoming the insane place I feared. But the craziness wasn't over yet. In the livestream room opposite, under Grandmaster Shen's throat-shredding screams, Ethan Qin, who had been lying peacefully on the bed like a sleeping prince, suddenly began to convulse violently. When Ethan Qin started convulsing, Grandmaster Shen's face turned pale with fear. He instinctively looked at Manager Cam. Manager Cam reacted quickly, immediately rushing to hold him tight. "Ethan, is your soul returning? Wake up quickly. Everyone is waiting for you." His soul returning. He was convulsing because his soul was fighting with the evil spirit to reclaim his body. The demon not only wanted to possess the body, but also wanted to devour his soul. Ethan Qin's soul couldn't fight the demon and was falling into a weak position. In this situation, if he had met a capable Daoist, they would have intervened, driven away the ghost, and stabilized the soul. But unfortunately, Ethan Qin had encountered a useless old man like Grandmaster Shen, who, unable to see the ghost, could only stand by and loudly shout, "Ethan, come back!" I once again pressed a hand to my forehead. Seeing Ethan Qin's soul about to have an arm bitten off by the demon, I knew if I didn't act immediately, he wouldn't survive. With no other choice, I was forced to summon Ethan Qin's soul. Summoning ghosts and summoning living souls are two entirely different matters. Ghosts don't need a vessel. A ghost calling talisman is enough. But a living soul, if it leaves the body for too long, becomes weak. When it returns to the body, it often faces the problem of easily escaping again. Therefore, I had to prepare a temporary vessel to replace his real body. I took scissors and a blank yellow paper, quickly cutting it into the shape of a small paper doll. I wrote Ethan Qin's birth date on the paper doll, then chanted the incantation. Heaven's gate opens, Earth's gate unseals Ethan Qin's soul. 1,000 miles. Spirits come. By the command of the Most High Lord Lao, quickly enter this body. As soon as I finished chanting, Ethan Qin's body convulsed even more violently. My followers immediately erupted in chaos. "Everyone, come and see. I just heard this woman summoning our idol soul." After she finished chanting, he convulsed even more violently. "Is she trying to kill him? You are truly evil." Grandmaster Shen was right. You're a sore loser. If our idol doesn't wake up, I'll definitely kill you. Ah, everyone look! Our idol woke up. He opened his eyes. The fans' shouts finally drew everyone's attention back to Grandmaster Shen's livestream. Indeed, Ethan Qin had opened his eyes. No one noticed that the paper doll on my table stirred slightly as if wanting to stand out, but I quickly pressed a book down on it. At this moment, the driver of the car Chi Ling booked for me called, reporting that the car had arrived at the school gate. Hearing this, I immediately decided to turn off the live stream, ignoring Ethan Qin's fans' curses and Grandmaster Shen's smug, mocking gaze. As expected, my extraordinary move brought another wave of criticism. Specifically, as I walked out of the dormitory and through the hallway, I was blocked by a group of Ethan Qin's fans. They were furious, cursing, and threatening to expose me to teach me a lesson, so I couldn't continue scamming online. To avoid revealing any weaknesses, I even pretended to agree, scolding myself a few times. I truly deserved to die. After escaping the dormitory and safely settling into the first-class seat, I released the paper doll, Ethan Qin. He was unfamiliar with his new body. He was scared. He screamed. He began to panic. Who are you? Where is this? Am I dead? Why am I like this? Before his barrage of questions, I calmly and concisely replied, the one who saved you, on the plane. Not dead? Me, Ethan Qin. No, not. It took him a moment to react, then cautiously asked, so, are you a bad person? This guy is truly good at grasping the core issue. Whether I was a good person or not became the subject of a 3-hour discussion between Ethan Qin and me on the plane. In the end, we reached no conclusion. We each maintained our own views. After he learned I worked in metaphysics, he suddenly went wild, sharing a series of stories about mysterious and ghostly phenomena in the entertainment industry. I was afraid he'd crown me a good person and then start introducing me to clients. So, I insisted I was just a money grubber, my eyes gleaming at the sight of cash. But he called me overly modest, saying no bad person would enthusiastically help others like me, even taking a plane just to help him regain his honor. Ha ha! He's truly delusional. I didn't do it to help him. I just didn't want to bring bad luck upon myself. No matter how I explained, Ethan Qin wasn't interested in listening. After getting used to the small body of the paper doll, he borrowed my phone to go online. Then he saw his fans cursing me. So angry, he used my own account to argue with them, one-on-one. My account. I truly thanked him profusely. By the time I led him off the plane, recalling his efforts, there were even black and white photos of me circulating online. My portrait had been turned into a memorial photo, edited from my cartoon avatar. I really had to thank Ethan Qin's fans for their dedication. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't find my personal information. Finally, out of anger, they decided to turn my avatar into a memorial photo. In an instant, everyone using an avatar similar to mine had to change their profile picture. The situation had escalated to a point that was both hilarious and strangely absurd. Ethan Qin's fans' extreme behavior could be attributed to Grandmaster Shen, who was still live streaming, plus the evil spirit possessing Ethan Qin's body, and Manager Cam. The news of a vegetative person waking up was seen as a medical miracle, immediately attracting the attention of the media. Grandmaster Shen seized this opportunity to to promote his merchandise. Indeed, he was selling protective talismans drawn by his own hand, fake talismans, but he sold them for 20,000 each. Not only that, he created a scarcity effect, selling only 1,000 talismans, with each person limited to buying one. I thought no one would be foolish enough to buy this stuff. But as soon as sales opened, all the merchandise was immediately sold out. How hateful! While selling talismans, he didn't forget to take out the electronic protective talisman I had privately sent him. He showed it off to the netizens, commenting smugly about how poorly my talisman was drawn and how inferior it was to his. The netizens enthusiastically responded, firmly believing that my talisman was nothing but random scribbles. Damn it! I drew talismans on my phone. It's a miracle they even took shape. And now they demand I draw them, like works of art. Moreover, his talismans are fake. I'm furious. Ethan Qin was also very angry, scolding Grandmaster Shen, that hateful old man. If he had listened to me and used the protective talisman on my body, I wouldn't have been possessed by a ghost. While Grandmaster Shen was busy selling talismans and making a huge profit, Manager Cam and Ethan Qin, who was actually the evil spirit, reappeared in the live stream. The two seemed to have reached some agreement. Manager Cam smiled brightly, announcing good news. She stated that during Ethan Qin's vegetative state, his contract with the management company had expired. Now, he would re-sign a new contract with the company, extending for another 20 years, and the official announcement would be made at a press conference taking place in an hour. Ethan Qin shrieked. Grandmaster, quick. Pay the driver extra. Tell him to drive faster. If they actually sign that contract, I won't be able to live anymore. Ethan Qin was so distraught that his limbs were flailing. If only I could hear his soul speaking, the driver in front would surely have been scared to death. But asking me for more money was out of the question. I patted the driver's shoulder, feigning a stomachache, and said, "Sir, I can't hold it anymore. Can you drive a little faster? Otherwise, I'm going to have to go right here in the car." The driver, hearing this, immediately panicked and said, "Oh my goodness, please try to hold it a little longer. If you can't, use a bag. Don't get it on the car seat." This guy is truly reckless. Nevertheless, it was effective. The car's speed noticeably increased. Fearing I might actually go in the car and make a mess, the driver even opened all the car windows. The strong wind rushed in, almost blowing Ethan Qin in his paper doll body out the window. Fortunately, I quickly grabbed him and stuffed him into my handbag. We sped to the location. As soon as I got out of the car, the driver didn't forget to ask, "Ma'am, you must be exhausted from holding it for so long. Hurry and get out of the car." I hugged my stomach, forcing a smile. "Thank you very much. Next time, I'll think of a more elegant reason. I still need to maintain some dignity after all." In my handbag, Ethan Qin was laughing almost hysterically. He said he hadn't laughed so much in a long time, and even suggested I had a knack for comedy, asking if I wanted to enter the industry and offering to introduce opportunities. My face darkened, and I told him to shut up. Looking at the remaining time, I intended to find Ethan Qin, exorcise the ghost possessing his body, and return his soul to his own body. that would be the end of the matter. But Ethan Qin, seeing there was still plenty of time, immediately stopped being in a hurry. He had an idea, asking me if I wanted to exact revenge and reclaim my honor. Frankly, I thought, I don't want to. It's good to be a little humble. They curse me, but as long as I don't care, it doesn't affect me. Moreover, by cursing me, they accumulate bad karma and will have to suffer punishments in hell after death. Thinking that, I have nothing to worry about from them. Although Ethan Qin was a film emperor, he secretly harbored a dream of becoming a director. Finally, he used money to persuade me, asking me to play the female lead in a movie he would write and direct himself. He said that the protagonist must appear at the most crucial moment to truly captivate the audience. So, at this very moment, I was wearing a frog costume, pretending to be an Ethan Qin fan. Squeezed into the bustling crowd, the feeling of utter boredom was indescribable. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait long. The press conference began on time. When Ethan Qin, looking frail and sickly, was pushed in a wheelchair by Manager Cam into the hall, the flashing cameras of reporters and the piercing screams of fans immediately transformed the solemn press conference into a fan meeting. Besides Ethan Qin and Manager Cam, Grandmaster Shen was also present. He announced that he would perform a spiritual ritual for Ethan Qin to help him have a smooth life from now on, free from any further accidents. This decision moved Ethan Qin's fans to tears. They continuously praised Grandmaster Shen's boundless spiritual power. In contrast, some more sober reporters whispered that he was excessively hogging the spotlight. I quietly watched Grandmaster Shen, holding a peachwood sword, jumping up and down around Ethan Qin in his wheelchair until he was panting heavily. But no one noticed that Ethan Qin's gaze towards him grew increasingly cold. The ghost possessing Ethan Qin's body was not yet fully stable. Ghosts naturally fear peachwood, so even though Grandmaster Shen had no spiritual power, his constant waving of the peachwood sword in front of it also made it extremely uncomfortable. But the situation didn't end there. After his display, Grandmaster Shen put away the peachwood sword, then took out a fake protective talisman, the kind that was selling like hotcakes, folded it into a triangle, and offered it to Ethan Qin. Ethan Qin didn't take it, only looking at Grandmaster Shen with a contemptuous gaze, as if watching a clown. The lively atmosphere suddenly turned icy. This scene was even more sensational than Grandmaster Shen's earlier dance. Reporters' cameras clicked continuously, almost smoking. Some reporters had already opened their laptops, quickly typing articles to compete for breaking news. Seeing the unfavorable situation, Manager Cam immediately took the protective talisman on behalf of Ethan Qin. To avoid further trouble, she quickly signaled someone to bring the pre-prepared contract, then handed a pen to Ethan Qin, motioning for him to sign. As Ethan Qin held the pen and lowered his head, about to sign, Ethan Qin in paper doll form screamed, "Grandmaster, act now!" Finally I, who was so sleepy I wanted to collapse, could step onto the stage. Suppressing my embarrassment, I followed Ethan Qin's request, played eerie background music through a loudspeaker, and threw a body-fixing talisman towards Ethan Qin, making my official appearance. Wait a minute. I have something I want to show everyone. With that, I ran onto the stage, threw the paper doll Ethan Qin into the air, and simultaneously released an incarnation talisman. Ayos. Ilumni Ayos. Ye obey the command of the Maoshan patriarchs. The sky is clear. The earth is bright. Minor spirits heed my command. By talisman's law, urgent as decree. Immediately, the paper doll Ethan Qin in the air erupted in a puff of white smoke. Ethan Qin's soul, missing one arm, appeared floating in midair. Ethan Qin laughed and said, "Hello, everyone. How are you? Everyone, everyone." The entire hall erupted in chaos. A reporter standing near Ethan Qin screamed, "Ghost!" Ethan Qin quickly reassured them, "I'm not a ghost. Everyone don't be scared. I'm still alive." But this only made everyone more convinced there was a ghost. Ethan Qin, flustered, explained, "Oh my goodness, I'm really not a ghost. If you don't believe me, everyone look." He pointed at me. So everyone saw a person in a full frog costume, covered from head to toe, rushing towards Ethan Qin in the wheelchair. I was very direct, firmly sticking an exorcism talisman onto Ethan Qin's chest. Immediately, Ethan Qin, who had still been conscious, collapsed, his face as pale as a corpse. "He's dead!" someone screamed. I turned to the floating Ethan Qin. "Stop fooling around. Quickly return to your body." The ghost, expelled from the body, looked utterly unwilling. It muttered, "You meddlesome Daoist." Having said that, perhaps because it was too pleased with Ethan Qin's body, it didn't flee but lunged directly at his soul. If the ghost could devour Ethan Qin's soul and continue to occupy his body, it would completely merge with the body, becoming the new Ethan Qin. Ethan Qin didn't understand this, but he knew he couldn't fight the ghost, so he shrieked for help. "Grandmaster, save me." I rolled my eyes. "Return to your body, you fool." I glared at him, raising my peachwood sword to block the ghost's attack. I intended to destroy it, but the ghost knew it was no match for me and slipped away like an eel, dodging all my attacks and focusing on pursuing Ethan Qin's soul. Ethan Qin quickly returned to his body. Seeing this, the ghost still wouldn't give up, intending to continue lunging to possess his body. But I raised my peachwood sword and blocked. "You want to steal his body? Did you ask for my permission?" Being mocked by ignorant people was one thing, but now even a ghost didn't respect me. It was truly humiliating. I pasted a protective talisman onto Ethan Qin to see what the ghost could do. But as soon as I finished pasting it, a hand reached out and tore the talisman to shreds. "You are such a despicable person. You can't stand losing, so you're trying to kill Ethan Qin, aren't you?" The one who tore the talisman was none other than Grandmaster Shen. He chastised me with righteous indignation, but if you look closely, his legs were shaking like crazy. I took a deep breath, trying to suppress my anger. No, I couldn't take it anymore. I had endured enough from him. Damn it, even doing good deeds needs to consider the circumstances. Fine. This ghost was summoned by him. He's so capable, let him deal with it himself. I immediately pasted an incarnation talisman onto the ghost, then kicked Grandmaster Shen straight towards it. "You're so skilled! So, you deal with it yourself, okay? I believe you can do it. Kicked by me, Grandmaster Shen and the ghost came face to face. His piercing scream echoed. His reaction was quite fast. He immediately threw the beechwood sword in his hand towards the ghost. The ghost gently tilted its head and dodged. Looking at Grandmaster Shen, who was as timid as a mouse, the ghost angrily questioned him. "What are you so afraid of? Do I look scary?" No, not scary." Grandmaster Shen frantically shook his head in denial. "Then, who's more handsome, me or him?" the ghost asked, pointing a finger at Ethan Qin. "You're more handsome." Pausing even a second to answer is disrespecting a life. Grandmaster Shen thought this was the correct answer, but it only enraged the ghost. "You dare lie to me! Anyone with eyes can see he's more handsome than me." The ghost roared furiously. "Dare to lie to me, and you die." Grandmaster Shen was baffled. Why is the ghost angry? Even Grandmaster Shen, the master of deception, couldn't understand. But he knew that if he didn't do something immediately, his life could end here. So he immediately turned and looked at me. At this moment, I was standing at the classroom door with the crowd, pushing the newly awakened Ethan Qin forward to watch the show. Without hesitation, he dashed towards me. The ghost pursued him closely, making him so scared that tears welled up in his eyes. No longer daring to put on airs, he pleaded with me. "Grandmaster, save me, please. Sorry, my skills are unrefined, far inferior to yours. You're so powerful. Deal with it yourself. Okay? I believe you can do it." I replied with my arms crossed, my sarcastic tone settling all my previous anger. "Yes, I am that petty." "Grandmaster, I was wrong. I'm not powerful. You are powerful. I'm just a fraud. I don't know anything. Grandmaster, I deserve to die. But I don't want to die. Please save me." He cried so much that tears and snot ran down his face, looking utterly pathetic, clearly terrified of death. The ghost looked at him with disdain, its eyes involuntarily drawn to Ethan Qin's face, a look of satisfaction evident, filled with an eager desire to possess his body. "Grandmaster, I'm scared." Ethan Qin's spine tingled from the ghost's gaze. He pulled me in front of him to shield himself from its stare. I showed no emotion, pushing his hand off my shirt. "You're a valuable paying customer. Don't be afraid. Everyone, Grandmaster, may I ask about your fees?" someone asked. I turned and looked directly at the questioner. It was Manager Cam, Ethan Qin's manager. "It depends on the person. For example, for you, I don't charge any money." I said half a sentence, paused for a moment, saw her face light up with joy, then politely smiled and continued, "Because I don't accept work from someone who is 10 parts wicked." Manager Cam's face instantly darkened. The curious gazes around us immediately brightened, especially those of the reporters, as if wanting to dig for more news. She began to feel guilty. She wanted to be angry, but didn't dare, only glaring at me with hateful eyes. Don't think I don't know. Grandmaster Shen also heard about the fees. His will to survive exploded. He proactively named a price. "Grandmaster, if you save me, all my assets will be yours." I showed a look of disgust. Your assets aren't even enough to compensate for this. What? He didn't understand. I mimicked his profound and mysterious expression, smiled at him. Very soon, you'll understand what I mean. Hearing this, he opened his mouth, intending to curse me, but forced himself to hold it back. During our conversation, the ghost tried to escape several times, but each time I kicked it back next to Grandmaster Shen, making him shriek in terror. Suddenly, running footsteps echoed from afar. Finally, the people I was waiting for arrived. "Stand back! Police! Who reported the crime?" "I called the police," Ethan Qin and I said in unison. The crowd immediately parted, allowing over a dozen police officers to enter. Seeing the police appear, Manager Cam and Grandmaster Shen visibly panicked. Manager Cam, in particular, realizing the unfavorable situation, tried to use the crowd to escape, but Ethan Qin cleverly shouted, "She deliberately attempted murder and unlawful detention." These words enraged Ethan Qin's fans standing in the crowd. They immediately surrounded her, preventing her escape. Ow! The police quickly apprehended her. As for me, I pointed at Grandmaster Shen. "I accuse him of fraud, involving a very large sum of money." Hearing this, the police intended to move forward and arrest Grandmaster Shen. But when they saw the ghost, they dared not approach. I smiled awkwardly at the police, signaling that there was no need to worry. I would deal with the ghost quickly. The ghost, which had served its purpose of holding these two, also needed to make its exit from the stage. I decisively used a 5 Thunder Talisman to banish it. The sight of a lightning bolt striking down and destroying the ghost astonished and impressed everyone. "Oh my God, she can catch ghosts. She's so cool. I want to switch to being her fan. Let's all switch. I want to be a fan too. How about we start a support club for her?" I turned to look at Ethan Qin's group of fans from a minute ago. Seeing their fervent eyes, even while wearing my full frog costume, I was afraid they would rush forward and tear it off me. I hastily pushed Ethan Qin to follow the police and leave the scene. After the police took my statement, I removed my costume and left the station alone. Walking past the fans gathered outside the police station, I pretended to talk on the phone with a friend, complaining that I had just been scammed in a telecommunication fraud and lost all my money, which made them look at me with sympathetic eyes. Thanks to this, I quickly got into a car to the airport and flew home that very night. Stepping off the plane, I opened my phone, and social media platforms immediately barraged me with news related to Ethan Qin. Shocking. Film Emperor Ethan Qin wakes up after 1 year in coma. Explosive. Ethan Qin's 1-year coma, not due to accident, but human malice. Ethan Qin accuses last year's accident was not an accident. Ethan Qin's manager, Cam, arrested for investigation. High-ranking officials of Ethan Qin's former management company investigated by police overnight. Mystic Master. Millions of fans accuse him of fraud. Many victims publicly denounce. On the search rankings, 9 of the top 10 spots were related to Ethan Qin. The remaining spot belonged to the scammer Grandmaster Shen. Ethan Qin also posted a detailed essay recounting his experiences over the past year, along with his disputes with Manager Cam and his former management company. He began the article by sincerely thanking Manager Cam for discovering his talent initially, as well as the company's cultivation of his career over the years. Then he shifted his tone, explaining that a year ago, when his contract with the company was nearing its expiration, he had reached an agreement for renewal. However, just before signing the contract, he discovered that the company had secretly engaged in numerous illegal activities by exploiting his reputation and the affection of his fans. What exactly were these illegal activities? He chose to keep them confidential to protect the victimized fans. He believed that he had inadvertently caused these tragedies, so on the day of the accident, he had intended to go to the police station to report them. On his way, Manager Cam called him, and they had a fierce argument. After the call ended, on a road section with no surveillance cameras, he was intentionally hit by a truck. After the accident, he was indeed in a coma for a while. But after being moved out of the ICU, he woke up. However, Manager Cam bribed the medical staff to inject him with drugs to keep him in a coma and took him home to imprison him. Throughout the past year, every time he woke up, he was forced to undergo hypnosis sessions. They hired a professional hypnotist who constantly brainwashed him with commands to obey Manager Cam and remain loyal to the company. After more than a year of hypnosis, their plan succeeded, allowing him to wake up from his vegetative state and continue contributing to the company as a money-making machine. The management company wanted to create a grand event for his awakening, so after research, they discovered that a streamer named Celeste Zhang, Easy Money, was very popular online. They intended to collaborate with me to stage a drama, but because they sent numerous messages without receiving a response from me, they were forced to find someone more easily manipulated. Grandmaster Shen. Grandmaster Shen, having lost quite a few fans to me, readily cooperated with the company. They discussed and decided to leverage my online popularity to attract fans, which led to the spiritual duel between Grandmaster Shen and me. However, a fake will always be a fake. As everyone saw, Grandmaster Shen was indeed a scammer, while I, Celeste Zhang, Easy Money, am a true master with genuine abilities. Ending the essay, Ethan Qin dedicated several paragraphs to lavish praise on me, exalting me to the heavens. He also announced his withdrawal from the entertainment industry to work behind the scenes, and sincerely invited me to play the female lead in his debut film. Me? Is he trying to make a horror comedy? I thought, quietly choosing to block his account,